Welcome to Buzzbait, your wave of something new each week. I'm your host, Lara, and with me are my co hosts, Meghan and Collin. Have you guys been watching anything good recently?
I'm almost caught up on the Blacklist.
I've just been rewatching Naruto for the 800th time in my life.
Good shit right there, though. I don't like watching it. I did love reading the manga. Something about the English voice actor's voice just really fucked me up. And
Watch
I
the
was just like,
sub
eh.
then.
Too cringy?
Well, the problem with watching subbed anime for me is that usually I put stuff on while I'm doing something else like gaming, and so then if I'm watching something with subtitles, it starts to get lost. So I've got to have, like, focus.
You know what I've
What you
been
call
watching?
What?
These birth rates drop around the world.
They sure do be
They,
dropping.
they're dropping like fucking flies. So that's what today's topic is.
If you couldn't guess why it's such a fucking
Today's topic,
random.
chat. Why aren't people fucking no more?
Because they're watching and reading Naruto.
Because they're a bunch of fucking anime loving weebs who'd rather fuck robots, as we've discussed.
I just watched I want to say it was like 2007 like E3 thing, and it was Activision where what's his name is like Jeff Kinley or something like that. He comes on stage, and I
Damn, that's
swear to God,
gross.
just the way he looked and acted, he was definitely like intoxicated off something. Um and he's just it's like he went on stage and was like, I'm just gonna do crowd work the entire time, and it was horrible because he's like, are there virgins in the audience? Of course there are. This is a gaming conference. And just like that was the whole thing.
That's wild.
Oh, it's so cringy. Highly recommend watch that. It's bad. It's really bad. Yeah, today we're talking about population and birthright. Fuck. No. No. So disclaimer, we're not Nazis. But we're talking about population around the world and birth rate and how I mean, it's not only dropping in the United States, but South Korea is seeing a huge decline, and that also is kind of going in hand with the 4B movement, a feminist movement taking place there.
I was gonna say their
Um,
whole thing is that like they're just refusing to even date because they're being
like
treated like garbage.
even I mean to kind of extreme quote unquote, but even like to interact with men.
Yeah,
But that's also just because the men over there are, like have been acting horrendously for years. So I understand where they're coming from.
hmm
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Japan is also going through
Japan's
something
having a
similar.
very similar issue,
Yeah,
and their issue is currently like I think Japan is the one where it's like they're offering to like pay people to move there just so that like maybe the women will date somebody if they're not like native born and raised.
right.
But there was one, I can't remember if it was Japan, but there was a country that literally was just like, please come move to our country and
And
start a
have
family. Yeah,
babies.
start a family. And I was like, guys, I think you can just treat your women better and it'll fix itself afterwards.
It's almost like if you teach young
Yeah.
boys, not only young boys, but also like teenage boys and young adults, if you teach them to have manners not only for their fellow boys, but also fellow women and other people, babies will just be made.
Yeah.
Because suddenly, it's crazy how when you start respecting people, they like you. That's crazy. I never would have thought.
It's impossible. The issue is clearly just the women are overreacting.
Of
Well,
course, emotional.
it's always difficult because certain cultures also value like men over women inherently. It's like really ingrained because of how like family structures and stuff are formed. So
Right.
places, of course, like the birth rates in China and stuff were affected heavily because people were keeping boys and not girls. Because they were like, well, the boy stays and takes care of us, the girl goes and joins whatever family she marries into. So parents and stuff. or keeping the boys. So it's like it's hard to balance that aspect of culture with like also like, hey, you can have a culture, but also don't be shitty to people. Don't treat some people like shit just
My
because wow
favorite
they have a
culture
newborn.
is the golden rule.
Yeah, yeah. Treat people how you want to be treated.
Exactly, which is why I'm a bitch to everybody. So, who wants to share their articles first?
Mine's just like, it's not necessarily articles, it's just lovely charts and graphics.
Ooh,
Um, I have a couple. The first, I'll post the links in the chat for you guys. Chat, where's chat? Where's chat, guys? Oh, there's chat. Found it.
chat, clip that.
So the charts that I've got are fertility rate and birth rate, which obviously, like, the fertility rate isn't just because of people not wanting to have kids, it's a much deeper issue. But yeah, so both charts are basically the exact same almost. There's a couple differences in when it, if it comes back up at all, and how much, but both have been very steadily declining for the past 30 to 40 years.
Great.
Um, and this is worldwide. Like, this is just every country's like reported totals.
2 chat messages from Meat.
Meat Boy. But yeah, so like, if you scroll down, it lists like when they were most recently updated, because some countries haven't like sent their numbers in, so the data is not 100% accurate, because some countries haven't like sent the data in, or they haven't collected it since, like, I think one of them was, yeah, the oldest one is 2010.
Damn.
But
Birth rate in 1963, those motherfuckers were fucking.
yeah, in 1963 they didn't have anything else to do. It's
Also
just like, all right,
true.
everybody's back from the war and settled down a bit, time to start pumping them out, you know. And nowadays, as you progress, we started making comic books and TVs and video games, and people were just like, damn, sex is stupid.
Yeah, they're like, why would I want to have sex with a real woman when Tifa Lockhart
I was
is
gonna
right
say,
there?
dude, you got, like, in the old days, yeah, like, you got Tifa, you got Lara Croft.
Hell yeah, those triangle tits.
Oh, dude,
Whew!
game changing.
God damn.
And then, like, nowadays you can basically just go in VR, and I haven't,
Hump your waifu.
yeah, like, I haven't put on my VR headset in so long, but every video I see is just cursed things. And I'm like, guys, you know that, like, you could like play cool games in VR. Like, you don't just have to like go to these weird chat rooms, right?
I was gonna say I see videos of, if it's not like a weird chat room, it's it'll be like one of those joke videos where they like go into their roommate's room
Oh
and
yeah,
he's like humping a pillow with the VR headset on.
yup. But yeah, so I think that's part of it at least. But, and the other thing, like, that obviously doesn't cover why the fertility rate has changed. I think that's a bit more to do with just changes in everybody's day to day life, and how much, like, honestly, I hate to like sound like a conspiracy, but I think like it genuinely comes down to like all the chemicals that are being put into like food and everything. I think it's just causing
That's what I was
issues
gonna
long
say. It's,
term.
you know, or at least in America.
Yeah.
Um,
That's, I can only speak for the weird things our government is requiring companies to do to our food.
exactly. But I think it also goes hand in hand with it goes hand in hand with what's it called? Like how expensive it is to have a kid now,
Right.
and it's harder for people now than ever to own a home or have an apartment with more than just one bedroom,
Yeah.
right?
Childcare because
Yeah.
you will both
And
have working
childcare,
parents.
exactly.
Yeah,
Like it's
that's another
people aren't
big
having
thing.
kids because it's so fucking expensive to have the kids.
Yeah, like, if I pull up specifically United States apparently the United States has never once contributed their data to this chart, so that's super cool for this episode. Do they contribute to this one?
Very interesting of them to not do that.
All right, they contributed to the fertility rate, but they didn't contribute to the birth rate.
Yeah, they're roughly the same.
Yeah, the fertility rate is for the United States in 2022, which was the last updated post for this graph, was 1.7. Trying to figure out, according to the chart, it's 1.7 is the fertility rate of births per woman. So for every woman, they're having 1.7 kids.
That makes sense. I feel like everybody that I know that has a kid either has one or two.
Yeah.
So
And so, but
I think
yeah,
it used to be like 2.3 or something like that. Like it used to be not too long ago, somewhere in the early 2000s or 2010s. I
I
think
say,
it was.
wasn't it like
yeah, something
10
like
years
that.
ago or something?
Yeah, only in that time. But that makes sense with how the economy's been going.
But yeah, like
Less
that's
and
the
less
other
people to
thing is
people.
like we said, at least for America, it's literally just. I think when my friend had a baby last, they got their hospital bill, and without insurance, it was going to be like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
It's
And
insane.
it's like, dude. And then like, yeah, the government comes out and it's like, oh, nobody's having kids anymore. The economy's it's like, well, fucking get the insurance, get like the fucking medical field to stop like ripping people's arms and legs apart.
And you know what's even funnier is, at least last that I looked, it's more expensive to adopt than to give birth.
That's crazy.
That was I checked that, I think, like 3 years ago or something. Just because I was curious. I was
Right.
like, how much is it to actually like fucking adopt a kid?
Yeah, because like I looked into it too when I came out, and I was like, if I decide to have a husband, how difficult would it be to adopt? And I was like, holy fuck, gotta go find me a trophy husband,
For fucking
or I gotta
real.
find somebody to make me a trophy husband because that shit's expensive as hell. But yeah, so it's basically just like everybody just keeps complaining, like, oh, people aren't having kids these days, and it's like, well, can you maybe start working on making it affordable to have the fucking nuclear family you dreamed of in 1950?
For real. Can I save a couple nickels and send my kid to college?
Yeah,
That'd
like
be nice.
friendly reminder for our American fans, depending on how old you are. Back in the like I think it was like right before I was born, like the ideal American, like not even like upper class, but like upper middle class, you had one parent that worked one job 9 to 5 5 days a week, and your family could have two cars. And at least in my case, it was me and three siblings. And so it was like you had one parent who would work just a regular 9 to 5. You would have two cars. You would be able to go on usually one or two vacations a year, and your family would not like have almost any difficulties.
Well, that's back when the
Yeah,
minimum wage was the living
right. And
wage. And it's like,
now it's like I live in an apartment with two roommates. I went to the ER in November of last year, and I sometimes still need help covering my bills because the ER trip puts me above like the amount that I've like allocated and prepared for like my other bills, and I'm just like, fuck. And I'm just like, I went to the ER because I got a cold and started having chest pains. I went to the ER and they were just like, cool, your bill after insurance is $980. And all we did was give you ibuprofen because you're
I
cold.
was just gonna say, I'm
Yeah.
sure all they did was
Yeah.
give you some kind of
They gave me
pill.
like
That's fucking
800
nuts.
milligrams of ibuprofen to like get a prescription for. And they were just like, so the chest pain is likely just because you got a cold and your muscles hurt. And I was like, dude, I sat in this ER from like 9 p.m. to 12:30 in the morning. I want to strangle you.
For some ibuprofen.
Yeah, just to be told like, take this ibuprofen. If your chest pain gets bad, go ahead and come back in. I was like, I'm not.
Oh
I think I'm just
man,
gonna
it's
die.
a joke.
Actually.
It's a joke.
So yeah, every time I hear some politician going, "Oh, the birth rate's going down," it's like, fucking then do something about it, jackass. That's my 2 cents. People will have kids when they're comfortable, and it's actually something that's manageable to do. Like if I had a kid right now, I'd probably have to like file for bankruptcy. Like there's no other option.
Meg, you got any articles?
Um, so my take of the topic is a little bit more based on like literature and like the projections. One of the things that we talked about was like, oh, that article that said in 10 years would be fucking robots. Um, well, the sci-fi world has long since been really hyper focused on overpopulation, and then that leading to a lack of resource for the common people in whatever dystopian that they're talking about in these sci-fi kind of like industries. I am a huge um, fan of uh, Kurt Vonnegut specifically. Um, and let's see here, one second. Um, he's got a couple of different stories that all focus on the concept of longer lifespans and resource and overcrowding. Funny enough, one of them, every time I Google just the title of the story, Google says, "Hey, are you a robot?" Like, it literally will not let me Google anything else using that page because it's like we've detected suspicious things because the title of the story is just the number two, the letter B, the letter R, a zero, a
Oh,
two, and a B.
like you
Like
just
it's
took your hand and smashed the keyboard?
yeah, and so like I get it because I also use private like tabs for everything on my phone, not because I look up anything weird, but because
Meg watching some
you would think,
stuff.
like, I wish it was because of porn, but it's because I look up shit like where uranium is mined in the United States, and I don't want people to ask questions if they start to type in something and that kind of thing pops up. Because how do I explain that to somebody in a reasonable way?
You're curious. Just want to
I'm
know.
just curious about where the United States gets its uranium for nuclear weaponry. No, it was a movie that they were talking about. They could find the like basically like a fingerprint because they could tell exactly where uranium is mined, and they could kind of like trace and track where uranium comes from that they find, so then they can kind of like catch people who are using uranium poorly. And I was like, is that real? Is that really a thing? Turns out, yes, it is. Each uranium deposit
See,
is cataloged.
but it's because you were curious because you asked. You were like, "Is that real?" That's your curiosity.
Yeah, but it's still weird as fuck if people have to stumble upon that. So I use private things for everything. I also don't need like people to be like, "Why do you look up like how to turn skin into leather?" Not human skin, but like skin in general. And I'm like, "Well, because I write stories, okay? But and I want it to make sense, and I don't want to just throw shit at a page sometimes. So then I look up weird shit. Anyways, I'm getting off topic, way off topic here. The thing is, I use private tabs for everything, but it's crazy that I'm looking up like a sci-fi like based story about like dystopian futures, and the thing that gives me daily information doesn't want to believe that I'm human because of what I'm typing in, and I have to confirm that I'm not a robot while looking up shit about dystopian futures. And it fucking
We've come full circle.
it really tickled me. But so Kurt Vonnegut has like a couple of things. I think the one that always sticks in my head is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, and the entire plot of it is that basically because you can basically extend your life indefinitely with this. Um, what happens is people are. I mean, he's got a couple of different things, which is he's what I like is that he touches on the theme, and he kind of like looks at the different ways that overpopulation could have like affected people. And so of course there's like the limited resources. He's like, yeah, everybody's living off these like, plant-based, everyone's eating basically seaweed, nobody's getting like harder to get things because the world is so crowded and stuff like that, and it's harder to feed that many people and provide for them, so they get these kind of like bland blech things. And so there's that part of it, but there's also just like what that would mean as far as like, oh, if I wanted to have a child but people live forever, then who goes away so that this new person can fit in the world. So like they're one of his stories, the one that I was talking about, that's the uh, to bro to be, that one there I think is the one where this guy, his like wife is about to have like triplets, but he can only find one person in his family who's willing to die, and so he like is like coming to like the realization, like she's like about to give birth to like people, but you have to like make space by having people just volunteer to die in your place. And like that was another thing that he touched on, is like people, elderly people or older people who had been living for a long time, volunteering to like make space for new people. And that was something that he did in
My
like Welcome to
experience
the
with
Monkey
the
House. But
elderly is that that would not be. They would just be like, "Fuck no,
No,
fuck you." I
it would actually, I think, be people our age that are like, I'm ready to
Yeah, like
fucking
we're done.
die.
Don't want to be
You're
here
like, all
anymore.
right, kill me. Give
and
me the
we're leaving,
injection.
and
Get
we're
me out
leaving
of
those
here.
poor babies to be raised by the elder. But that's not even the case, because like places in like Japan, right? They had a large portion of their elderly population volunteer to go into nuclear,
Oh
like
yeah,
densely nuclear irradiated places, so that they could take care of like and do cleanup, because they're like, well, I mean, it's going to, I mean, if I do get like, besides radiation poisoning, which will kill you much faster, but like what, I'm gonna get cancer and it's gonna develop in the next 10 years. I'm already 70. I'll die at 80. I was gonna
Right.
die around then anyway, you know. So I'm like, that is a beautiful cultural mindset, and like the responsibility of the old to take care of the new, that I admire greatly, which is not present, I think, in America, because we are so individualistic in our mindset, in our sort of like culture, because America does have a culture. It's just a fuck you, but don't fuck with us culture at the same time. It's like we'll
It's
band
very
together.
individualistic,
Yeah,
I think.
I think that Americans can band together, like, and do amazing things when there is a singular enemy, which I think has been used a lot throughout history. You know, like during World War II, and when you can make an enemy out of one particular group of people, then everybody else does really well banding together. That doesn't go great when there are American citizens who look like the enemy that you're trying to make, unfortunately. Um, you know, we're just like, oh, that's an American citizen, but still we're angry at them because our enemy looks similar to them, tragically. But outside of all that, like, so the Kurt Vonnegut story that always sticks in my mind, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, I think it's like a 1 3 bedroom apartment, but because everything is like so constrained, it's got like literally like 4 or 5 generations of a family living in a 3 bedroom apartment, and it's kind of like all run by like the patriarch, like the oldest family member. And like he kind of deems like, oh, well, you get this nice area of the apartment to sleep in, and you have to sleep by the front door, by the bathroom, because you made me mad, and you've got like 20 plus like human beings crammed into living in a 3 bedroom apartment in a city that's, I think it might be this one, it might be another one of his stories, but like all of New York City had become like the size of New York State, and like also took over parts of Connecticut, and that was like one city. But the entire concept that the world is going to fill up, we're going to run out of space and resources for people, was the mindset. And you can see that in a lot of different books and movies. Even like we even have things like, and not just like climate change and things like that, where you've got like people fighting over like water as a resource, or you know, like in Avatar, or things like Mad Max, where like they're like fighting over trying to gain a resource, where you're like being greedy and like over consumption of certain things at the detriment of, you know, whatever the situation is. But specifically focusing on like there will be too many people and that's how we'll overconsume, I think is such a funny mindset, because they're like, ah, yes, we will technologically advance far enough to allow people to never die, and or like never die of like disease or illness,
Hmm.
but somehow the world will have to be at peace enough not to kill each other, and we won't have enough food. and like water and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, technically there's a point at which, but it's like it always kind of was a weird like split for me because I'm like, technology, if you got technologically to that point, you should technologically you should be laying the infrastructure to take care of the people that are being produced. And like when I look at the possibilities and the things that humans can do and make and the ways that we have of like enriching soil, the ways that we have of growing food in incredibly like dense like we have different growth methods and stuff that like we can grow food anywhere now almost. I think that like literally
Pretty
like
much.
I don't think that there's like you create a building and you get the right lights and you can just grow whatever you want inside of a building with almost no limitation. As long, I mean, the only thing is if you're doing it on like a mass scale is keeping up with pollination and stuff like that depending on what you're trying to grow. But for the most part, for like food based things, we can almost always get what we need and we can do it in more and more efficient spaces, so we don't need like vast situations. Like yeah, we would lose like some um like variety in the things that we eat because certain things are harder to grow, like tree based things like like avocados or walnuts and things like that. Those kinds of things, you need a lot of space for those. A lot of the times it takes a long time to grow trees for certain plants and stuff. But I just can't imagine a world where like, oh yes, we no longer age or die, but also not enough food. And it's like we should be scaling those things similarly, otherwise we won't get to a point where, you know what I mean, like it's always
It's
like
the Thanos mentality of everything has to be
As a
balanced.
side note, whoever it was that popularized avocados as some needs to be like going back in time and they need to be shot.
Shot. That
They're
shit tastes like
so
wet
it tastes
grass.
like shit. They're incredibly like such a pain in the ass to grow.
And
That
they don't last long.
no.
Like you buy it, you have 2 hours to fucking eat it.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Those
it's
and I
rotten.
think it's almonds are the like I think almonds like waste so much water just to grow where
I think it.
somebody did like an analysis and it was like a single cup of almonds I think takes like almost an entire water truck.
I think almonds were the worst, and then avocados got
Yeah.
popularized. So it's like I think they're like neck and
Yeah, like
neck.
both of them need like almonds are fine. I don't know why they became like this popular like oh it's a healthy there's so many other alternatives like you don't have to shovel a handful of just almonds into your mouth to think that
All I'm
you're
gonna
taking
say
care of yourself.
is if all the popularization and talk about avocados, almonds, fucking whatever should go to blueberries. That's it.
Blueberries are the goat and they actually do something for your body. Other than some guy in a fucking what's that material that hipsters always wear? Burlap. A burlap scarf saying, "This is good for you. Come to my coffee shop and buy the avocado toast for
Sorry, Meg, we
$79."
totally derailed your conversation.
no. I mean, it is all related though. Is like this need for variety and this need to. There's a lot of like different foods. I mean, this attaches well with like our episode about like weight loss and dietary stuff too, because there's so much filler that they put in there, and they're like, ah, well, this is actually cheaper, so let me just fill this what should be a nutrition like a nutritious food with this other bullshit so that it's cheaper for me.
Right.
And
And
that's
I mean,
crazy.
as someone with, I don't want to say like dietary restrictions, I can eat whatever the fuck I want. But uh like buying protein shakes and stuff, that's one of the things that like you really need to fucking be on the lookout for, because so many will be like 0 sugar, 1 gram of sugar, and it's like, oh great, like on paper when you're looking at it that looks great, but then when you actually like look at the ingredients, it's some of like the worst shit for you. It's things that are going to like sit in your fucking stomach for ages and just like make you sick. It's terrible.
I know
Premier Protein, stay away from them. They're awful.
I know that it's not confirmed fully, and that it's just like, hey, this stuff, what's it called? It's the stuff that upsets my stomach and I can't drink. They put it in sodas, like diet sodas. What's it called?
Aspartame?
Aspartame. Yeah. They were like, hey, aspartame, it like turns to formaldehyde sometimes at certain like temperatures, similar to like the temperature of the inside of a human body.
Yep.
And formaldehyde is a carcinogen that can kill you. And people are like, yeah, but can you prove that it's doing that? And they're like,
But it tastes good.
no. And they're like, well, I'm gonna drink my diet fucking Pepsi then. Fuck off. And I'm like, it gives me a stomach ache. Like, it actually like hurts my stomach to drink things with aspartame in it.
I mean, diet soda is, by ingredient list, worse for you than just like a regular soda.
And they're finding that stuff that it's because it's not sugar, your body's not supposed to process it the same. But they actually are finding that it doesn't have a correlation to weight loss, because your body is reacting as if you're getting sugar, even without the sugar being there a lot of the times, because it's reacting to the sweet taste sense. And so it says, sweet taste means sugar is coming. So then your body is actually reacting as if you're getting sugar, even if you're not getting sugar. So they haven't found like a correlation with diet soda actually being any better for you or being better for your weight than normal soda, unless you're drinking like insane amounts, which, then
Which,
maybe.
daily reminder, drink your water.
That's what I did when I took my medicine.
Hydrate.
I've been drinking it. I got this water bottle, and I got like half a cup of coffee right here in my favorite mug, my Hulk mug.
I saw that. But yeah, but I was just like the mindset changing, and I haven't read sci-fi stuff in a hot minute. I did read some A.S. King, who her writing is very her short stories were like similar in a way to a lot of Vonnegut's, where it's like very um focused on like her view of the future. Shout out if you like young adult books, A.S. King, Ask the Passengers, great for the whole gay awakening thing. Love that one. Um uh Gloria O'Brien's History of the Future. She drank a bat. She drank a bat and got powers to see the future.
Like, she fucking popped that bitch in a blender, or
Yeah,
like
her and her friend I think saw a bat, and like then it was like they like turned it down. They're like, oh, it's dead. Like we thought it was a live bat, and then it was not. And so anyway, she saw like a revolution coming, because and like again like because the world was going against women, and they were like controlling women's bodies and like banning abortion.
whoa, what's
And
new?
yeah, this was back when I went to Europe the first time. I think the book must have come out then in like 2016, 2015, 2016. 2015 I think is when I first went to Europe, and I brought it with me and I left it in Belgium. Hey, if anybody was at a hostel in Brussels, Belgium, and you found a book called Gloria O'Brien's History of the Future, you want to mail that back to me? That would be
Return
crazy.
that.
Hey, Laura,
Here's
I
my
left
PO
Laura,
it
pull up
box.
there.
the
I left it
Laura,
in the
pull up the
outside place.
analytics. How many Belgian listeners do we have?
Last I remember, none. But we had one in Russia.
Yeah,
we
we
had one in
Vladdy
France. So it's like,
Putskins.
The French one, that's close. It's probably close. Like
it's
Brussels and
close.
France, like you can just jump on a train. It's not that
Yeah,
far.
Oh, Meg,
it's
why
close.
don't you just message your mom and have her bring it?
Ayo. Or message the wife, honestly. She might be more willing. Alright, we gotta finish this fucking episode.
Yeah. So
You're editing all that out.
yeah, 20 minutes is just fucking gone. But that's the thing though, is when it comes to things like population control, we were talking about my mother specifically, and the Gloria O'Brien History of the Future. Again, A.S. King, fucking lit. Dust of a Thousand Dogs, pretty fucking good.
Lit, literally
Dust of a
Monica
beautiful.
Thousand
never.
Dogs sounds like a crazy drug name, like just a fat line of cocaine.
I want to say a female pirate was cursed to live the life of 1,000 dogs before she could be reincarnated as a human.
That's
And then she
wild.
comes back and as a human finally, and she like remembers her old life and like all of her lives as dogs. So when she finally comes back, I think as a human, she's really fucking miserable because she's like has to go through like all of like the young years with her mentality of like I have to get the fuck out of here. And I think she's got like a buried treasure and she's got to find her like lost soulmate who's also been being reincarnated and stuff. It's solid. Also, Monica Never Shuts Up, short story, highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. It's one of my favorites. I've probably told you about it. It's a woman who's got her
Who doesn't
brother-in-law
shut up?
is her brother is dating a woman, and it's like this horrible thing where she like lies a lot. She's like, oh yeah, I used to be a model, and I'm getting into interior decorating and all these like little things, and oh yeah, I'm allergic to mushrooms, and I da 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 da, like weird picky things. And she's like recognizes that she's lying, but her brother like doesn't pick up on it because he's like love blind. He's in love with this woman, and so she's like, no, she's a fucking liar. And so she starts doing like little things, like she starts putting mushrooms, even though she says that she's allergic. She starts putting like microdosing like little mushrooms in all of her foods, and it's like, I know you're fucking lying, but I can't tell anybody that you're lying because I'm doing a shitty thing by putting something that you said you're allergic to in your food. So I can't just call you out for it because then they'd be like, oh, you're a piece of shit. Or you'll be like, oh, actually, I'm dying. You know what I mean? Because you're a fucking pathological liar. So she's doing this like little fucking shitty things. And she's like, I know you're a liar. I know you're a liar. And then finally, her brother actually goes to marry this woman, right?
Oof.
And so she's at her brother's wedding. And at the wedding, she like ends up talking to somebody, and there's this woman, and she's like, yeah, actually, I can't believe that he's actually marrying her. I'm Monica's sister. She's a fucking pathological liar. She like takes weird stuff from my life a lot of times. Like she's like weirdly fixated on my life. Like I was the one who was like a child model. I'm the one that's like has like all these things and everything. And then she's like eating something that the woman had prepared, and she's like, yeah, like she even lies and says that she's allergic to mushrooms when I'm the one that's allergic to mushrooms. And then it's like fucking cut to the ambulance being called because she's put mushrooms in all of the food that she made for her brother's wedding, and now someone who actually is allergic to mushrooms is eating it, and she has a horrible allergic reaction. And so it's kind of like that. It's a nice story in that it's like careful about those like little petty revenges and like fixating on those things. Like you can only do so much to kind of guide someone away from the bad decisions they're making, but don't let it catch you up by attempting to minorly poison people or hide allergens in foods to catch somebody up or fuck with somebody for your own peace. Like, and I thought it was a good story. But A.S. King, fantastic author, but very like Kurt Vonnegut style. In the way that she does a lot of like short stories and stuff focused on her perception of the future and like projections, and like things that she finds like important in today's thing, and like what she can see happening in the world coming from that. Um, but it's just so funny that so many of them were focused on like overpopulation when we're actually looking at declining populations, and eventually even declining to the point of not even like replacement rate. So I think the projections are like 2080 for replacement rate is when we're gonna meet the death rate. Like the birth rate and the death rate are gonna kind of like hit, and we're no longer gonna produce as many people as are dying.
Thank God I'll be dead by then. I ain't gotta
2080,
worry about that. 2080?
you're gonna, what's that? That's 60 years. You'll only be 80 something years old, Lara. You might live to be that old. You might live to see the year 2080, Lara.
If I do, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not gonna fucking remember it. The memory issues that run through my family,
It's true.
I may as well be
I say,
dead.
as soon as I hit 50, I'm sure all the drugs I've done and the concussions that I've gotten are all just gonna like turn my brain as smooth as a marble.
Yeah, the women in my family have a high risk of dementia and Alzheimer's, so
Every
I
day I'm gonna
had
wake up and I'll be like, where am I? What's going on here?
so once 2080 hits, I may as well be dead because I'm not gonna remember anything.
That just means you get to rewatch Ruby every day for the first
Oh,
time.
Watch
actually,
season 1.
yeah, because no, hold on, because like
That's
you
if my discs don't rot. 1. and if streaming services will still, 1, be relevant, and 2, have it.
Well, no, because you have the physical copies.
That's what I'm saying, if my discs don't
Oh,
rot.
your discs. I thought you said if my tits don't rot. I was like, I don't know what that has. It's like, I don't know.
As long as my tits and dick don't rot,
I genuinely,
Ruby's on
I
the
was
board.
just like, I don't know what that has to do like with you watching Ruby, but like, go off, girl.
Yeah. These
Listen.
things, once they rot, bro.
She's clocking out. That's what I was gonna equate to. Yeah, like look,
Once the milk becomes mold, brother, I'm out of here.
Truly the worst sentence in the universe.
Once the milk becomes a mold. Can we go off on a tangent that we are gonna keep in and talk about Lara's finding the lactation cookies and thinking it was a cookie that like
So at work, I see some questionable things come down the line all the time, right? Because it'll just be a box that'll say like a word, or it'll just say like toy vibrator or something, right? Because Walmart sells sex toys, so
Do they?
sometimes I just see that coming down the line. They do.
probably
I'll
online
see it
only.
coming down the line, and I'll just be, and sometimes I'll grab it and I'll be like, ooh, shake it around like, what's this? I mean, it's just me up there,
You
so
start hearing the buzzing inside, you're like, oh shit, let's put
Oh,
that back
fuck.
on.
Just put it back on the
Yes.
line and be like, somebody else can unbuzz that box.
That's exactly what I do. Every time I fuck it up, every time I fuck something up, I'm go, oops, and just put it back on the line and say like, oh, well, the line shakes a lot, so it just, shook it, fucked it up. But, I had these cookies come down. I had these boxes come down, and all it said on the box was lactation cookies. And I'm like, the thought of, oh, they're to help women lactate
Right. That
didn't even cross my mind, because I was just like, I sent you guys the video of like my thought process of being like, they're milking women. Like, are these women willing? Two,
Milking women.
or two, like,
Sense.
God, like, are these women donating their breast milk, or are they like, what's it called? Like kidnapping women, and they have like a milk farm, like cows, but it's human women. I'm like, oh my god, there's some like horrible shit happening.
But they're selling it at Walmart.
But they're selling it at Walmart. Well, I mean, like,
Walmart would.
child labor is fucking everywhere, and Walmart still sells shit that use that. So I don't think Walmart would really care as long as they're getting a cut of the profit.
So
But
the difference between your brain and my brain, as soon as I heard the term lactation cookies, I immediately was like, yeah, it's for like helping you produce the breasty milk.
well, the other thought that I had was like yeah, like they're made using breast milk,
Me
right?
using it. Yeah, I can't fucking
Like
imagine.
I'm like, that's the only thing I could think of is lactation cookies, right? Because if somebody right now today were to be like, I'm gonna make cookies with breast milk and then sell them, you
People would
kind
buy
of,
it, for sure.
I mean, people would buy it. I would buy it. I want to try that shit. But people, you would have to like, I'm pretty sure you would have to very clearly label like,
Yeah.
these are made.
You'd have to label it,
my milk,
and then like you would have to, in order to like be able to sell them at all, you would have to go through so many extensive like tests and make,
oh, absolutely,
because like you have to make sure that like they have to like have tests and proof that like there's not something wrong with your milk, because otherwise
right.
you'd be like, all right, these are $5 for like a pack of 2 or 3, and then like in one day you sell like, we'll say 20, maybe 20 or 30, and then like a week later everybody who ate those cookies happens to like contract the same disease,
Be sick or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. So it's like you have to label that it was used.
Right. Yeah, you have to
your breast
very,
milk. So that's
you
why
have
I'm like,
big red
they're
letters.
milking women. Breast milk cookies, right? Like that's the only thing that I'm like, oh my god. Oh, I did have the thought. I'm like, is it like a pre-made thing, and it's like you add your own breast milk to it? Like, is it made
Betty
for
Crocker
that
cookie
reason?
mix.
I'll say it's like
Just
the
add oil in it.
it's like the code it's like the
come
Kodiak
on.
pancake mix, where it's like just add milk and maybe an egg if you're feeling silly.
Yeah, it's Titty
Yeah,
Crocker.
it's just like, just fucking,
That's why I'm like,
just squeeze the juice in the bowl.
Shark Tank, get us on there.
Dude, I got a million ideas for Shark Tank. Shark Tank is not ready for
Shark
my
Tank.
fucking mind.
Sharks, I'm
I
here to
still think
present
that
the business
you're-
proposal. You give me $10,000 or I take the gun out of my coat.
I think your women's breast milk protein shakes probably would sell the best. Gym
Dude.
bros will fucking buy anything.
I'm trying to think what to call it.
Slap a picture of a muscular goth woman on the
Milf-
front, and you can get any gym
Milf
bro to
milk?
buy anything.
Milf Milk, that's the name.
MILF milk.
Buy it today.
Call it MILF.
That's a t-shirt, baby. Milf Milk? That's a t-shirt right there.
Katana Fish Productions presents MILF Milk.
If you want to be silly with it, you can just put an apostrophe and call it MILF.
Milf!
Dude, I'm a professional.
Fucking
Collin,
marketing
our
team.
minds. Our fucking minds.
The marketing team right here. Fucking fantastic.
It's crazy what you become good at when you have to, with two of your friends, handle every aspect of a business.
I can't believe that I wanted to be the person not to bring this up. I didn't want to be I was like, I cannot be the person that causes us to talk about the lactation stuff, and then I did. I was the one that brought up the cookies.
Breast milk, population, like fertility rates, it all goes.
Also,
hand in
I want
hand.
to apologize, Meg. You have to leave this part in. My brain had an oopsie earlier when I was talking about fertility rate. I just thought like that was the number of women who can have kids. I was not aware when I first brought it up that was the number of like kids per woman. Like I genuinely thought like the fertility rate was just like, oh, like I thought it was, that's why I was like, I don't see like where it says per like 100 people or something. That's because I thought like the fertility rate was literally out of like X number of people, this is how many women can have children. And then like I looked at the chart again and I was like, oh, you are the dumbest motherfucker.
I was looking at the chart and I'm like, I don't know where he's getting women can't have babies, but you know, maybe he's looking at something that I don't see.
I at first I did not understand what the chart was actually referencing, and then finally I was just like, oh, like it was like halfway through like what Meg was talking about, where I was just like, that's not what the chart was. I understand it now.
Well, that's fine. And we're all fine here, and we talked about fun population stuff without being monsters.
Hold on.
Yeah, Lara still has to go.
I got
I know. I'm not wrapping up.
I thought you were like wrapping up, and I'm like,
No,
hey,
I'm trying to get back into the topic of the kind of like where it was before, the mindset of
but it's
population
okay because
decline.
my article wraps up 3 of our favorite topics to talk about.
Fucking robots,
robots, and sex in kind of one thing.
aliens.
Gaming.
All right.
And the current topic of I don't want to say population control, but like
Declining birth rate. Yeah.
A Spanish startup has built a sperm injecting robot that can be controlled using a PlayStation controller. The team successfully used it to fertilize human eggs, eventually resulting in the birth of 2 healthy baby girls.
Well, what am I supposed to do? Do you have an egg carrying robot?
What am I supposed to do? I imagine you would be needed. So how we were talking about
milking women for the
milking women, they're going to be milking men, and then put that sperm in the perfect male peak performance body for women to go to fucking town.
What's wrong with this?
Hey, are you ready to talk about the ethical?
And then with a PlayStation 5
IVF?
controller, they're gonna fucking tickle their clit and boom, baby.
Jesus Christ. I really tried to like redirect onto a serious topic related to this, and you said no.
As soon as you mentioned that it was using a PlayStation controller, all I could think of was the submarine that they found out was like controlled by an Xbox controller.
I mean,
was
the
it
other
an Xbox? Was it Xbox?
It was
PlayStation?
It was the equivalent of an Xbox controller.
I thought it was also PlayStation. I thought it was.
Okay. Hold on, I missed something. What are we talking? The
submarine
yeah,
that like.
Yeah,
it was a Logitech
That's
controller.
What it was.
That's what it was.
I thought it was also a PlayStation.
Just like,
it was like.
Everything.
Do you remember like Mad Cats? It was like a Mad Catsy kind of stupid PlayStation 2 controller.
Oh my God.
I think. but it was Logitech for sure.
That's so
Which
funny.
shout out, that's why I got the keyboard.
Hell yeah, dude. Thanks for killing those billionaires, Logitech.
But I came across this article. This one's a little bit older. This was I think around this time, like 2023 or something. But there was if you literally look up robot giving birth on Google, there's thousands results like relating back to like 10 years ago robots were giving birth, right? Um Meet Victoria, one of the most technological advanced and highly realistic patient simulators on the market. Watch her give birth. It's a fucking YouTube video. You can watch Victoria give birth, right?
Unrelated to the Victorias we've had on the podcast.
Completely unrelated to the other Victorias that we know. I didn't even think about that. Whoops.
No, you're fine. I was just fucking around. No one's going to think that the birthing robot was our podcast guest about relationships, I don't think. Or the person I stream with sometimes.
There's too many Victorias.
There's 2.
It's too many. That's one too many.
Wow. How do you
Damn.
choose? Which one do you choose?
I don't know them. That's on you.
I'm not gonna choose between my 2 friends. Is it Vicky who we met Meet Moose with?
Yes.
There you go. That's one that you choose, Vicky. Is that because you want to marry her for the benefits?
Hey, you said you started it.
I did.
I don't even know what she looks like. I've talked to her like 3 times. But robots have been giving birth. We have the technology. We have PlayStation 5 controllers to help us give birth with, right? But I came across this because I was looking it up because thankfully it came across me right before we were recording this a day ago. But scrolling on Twitter as I usually do while I'm at work, supposed to be doing my job, I saw this picture where it was literally just a robot body with a womb holding like a child, like a human baby, or it was supposed to replicate a human baby, you know, to keep testing this sort of technology. And of course this like fucking brain dead idiot was like, it's so over for women, we don't need women, we just need robots. And then but I don't know, it crossed my mind because I was like, it can not only help with the birth rate of being like, okay, if a man just donates a sperm and a woman were to donate her eggs or something, then a baby can be made that can help with birth rate. But also like, don't like 800 women or something like die a year giving birth? Like this can kind of save
way more
life.
Way more than that. Way more than 800. In West Virginia alone, I want to say they had 16,000 births, and their death rate was 13%, is what I researched, which is
What's West Virginia? Why are you giving birth in West Virginia?
303,000 women are killed each year in childbirth.
So I wasn't too far off.
303,000.
I wasn't too far off.
Yeah, 800, 303,000.
Fine.
That's fine. But I know that because West Virginia has a total abortion ban except for medical emergencies. And I was like, motherfucker, you don't know what a medical emergency is already because these bitches are already fucking dying.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, and then to see that just 2 years ago, 10 years ago, we had a robot. We had fucking Miss Victoria giving birth. But we now have, like, we successfully see that 2 baby girls, human women, were born as a result of robotic fertilization. So I can definitely see this. I can, like, multiple governments, like we mentioned earlier, like South Korea or Japan or even like the United States, really, I don't want to say like pushing this technology, because I'm sure they're still going to push like human interaction and like actual like families raising babies, but investing in it to help their birth rates. I can see this kind of becoming the future in a way.
Yeah, and I definitely understand that. And funny enough, I think it's the Giver has something very similar where like people don't procreate with each other, but they still have like a nuclear family that raises children.
Right.
And I could see something like that where you before you were like, yeah, like we have to get together, but like also we're bringing our fuck robots. Like these are the things that we actually have sex with, but we
Yeah,
just need two people in the household still to do whatever, you know. So I think that was episode 2. We did talk about that, right?
I think so.
And I'm always hesitant because it could have also been the episode that we had with Jared where we mostly talked about fucking robots, but then it got all of the fucking audio was fucked up. But um
We talked about sex dolls, different, and then I looked up our names just so everyone knows. Kind of dug deep into this sex doll thing because I found this guy who brought his sex doll to like his high school reunion, and found out that he treats the sex doll like an actual person, and it has a social media page, and it's not totally uncommon for people with sex dolls to give them social media pages. So then I've dug even further into the rabbit hole and was like, I want to find sex dolls with our names, and there really were none. Collin actually had a couple.
Everybody wants a piece.
Collin had a couple. I didn't have a single fucking one.
which is
Every single
crazy.
one was Clara.
I would have thought there'd be a Lara Croft one out there at least.
I thought for sure, like,
Copyright infringement though. People couldn't.
probably. There, I mean, yeah, there's probably, if I were to go to like Etsy and be like, hey, I want a Lara Croft sex doll, I'm sure somebody would be willing to make one for me, but just selling it on the market, no.
In order to acquire that, if it's not just something of it, you have to meet some real fucking weirdos. When you start
Hell
getting
yeah.
into the privately created sex doll industry, there's gotta be some like fucking characters.
This episode is
Yeah,
insane.
this is madness.
This episode is wild.
I think it's a great time to end this episode.
I was just about to say, do we have any questions on the board here? I asked the last one. I don't mind asking again.
I did not get one prepared.
I have a notes app full of just things that I think of, and I'm like, this might be a good question. So if you guys don't have one, I think I have one that ties into, kind of ties into birth, as we were discussing,
Okay.
which is, do you think you were born in the right time? And I came across this question, or thought of this question, just because I feel like I hear people say a lot, like when they look back in time and in history, and they're like, oh, well, I was born in the wrong time. Like, I should have been born in like the 80s to
As
like
a
really experience the
woman who's
90s or
also
something like that.
gay, being born any earlier would be fucked up. But I wish I was born further in the future, maybe. But also, like, is never a time? Because, like,
No, you have to choose a time to be born.
see, that's the thing. Sometimes, but I don't know what the future is going to look like, so I can't just say, like, oh, 100 years from now in the future, because that could be fucking way worse. We don't know.
That could be worse. I mean, civilization couldn't exist anymore, I guess.
Right?
Too.
So, fucking God could give birth to me in a fucking cave, and
I
then
was
what the
gonna
fuck
say
would I
my
do?
joke answer would be like, I wish I was born like just moments before the heat death of the universe. But the actual answer is like honestly just like maybe 10 to 20 years earlier, so that I could have just really had that chance to just be like a fucking successful young man, and then the economy collapsed and broke apart, but like I still already had all my assets that are now worth like 300 times as much.
That is quite literally almost exactly my answer.
Right.
Of like, I wish I was kind of an adult in like 2008 and bought a couple houses.
Right.
That's
mine
You know?
is like,
honestly,
what's
that's
your
really
number one
fucking
mistake in
valid.
life? That in 8th grade I was going to school instead of buying 3 properties and
Yeah.
working from
Why was I
9
on
to
the
5.
playground in 3rd grade?
The
I should have been
problem,
fucking in the stock market. What the hell?
the fucking right, seriously. But the problem, like, with that mentality for me has always been like, well, if I wasn't born to the parents that I have now, like, they could have been even fucking worse. I mean, they could have been a hell of a lot better, but they could have been fucking worse. Fuck,
Yeah, that's
fuck
true.
me if I was
Especially
born
when you
into a
choose
worse
like
family.
yeah, especially when you look back like later on back when abuse was a much more commonplace
Mhm.
and
Mm-hmm.
like definitely was not talked about or it's um like what kids with severe autism and like other severe mental disorders like kids that were like I said like severe autism and like couldn't verbalize or like refused to or something
Institutionalized, if not killed,
institutionalized killed chained to fucking radiators like
locked in a fucking
I don't
bedroom.
really yeah I don't fuck with that that's not good so
Right.
it's like I do kind of think it's like okay I do like being born where I was because I get to listen to Charlie XCX and be gay and be a happy little lady. But at the same time, I kind of look back at like I don't know if I want to say things I missed out on, but it's like I wasn't there when Pokemon was first released. Come on!
Right, to be a kid like, to be, like,
In like the late 90s.
7 or 8 by the time Pokemon was released.
Cuz you had Pokemon, you had Yu-Gi-Oh! They came out around like the same time.
Magic, all of them came out around the same
Magic
time.
the Gathering, yeah.
Yeah, early 90s. Yeah,
Like
mm,
that would have been so peak.
yeah. But also, I mean, if I was born earlier, like, even, like, a generation earlier, right? Like, in my parents' generation so that I could be an adult to take advantage of, like, the stock market and the last recession in 2008 and stuff like that. If I had been, it's like, well, it like let's say I was born in that generation and I still had to like stick to like my family tree, right? That means I either would have been born to my current grandparent, like my living grandparents that are alive now, my mom's parents, which hell yeah, that would have been fantastic. They're great people, and I would have been set up for a fantastic life, and I could have done a lot with my life. Or I could have had my dad's parents, and that was my 2
So
options.
it
Like,
seemed like
50-50. Roll the
yeah, I was going to
dice.
say you had a really 50-50 shot.
If I was born, like, one generation back in my family, roll the dice. Could have been fantastic, because like, both my aunt, or not my aunt, my uncle, my mom and my uncle both got, college educations. That alone is fucking invaluable. Can you imagine? My mom went to Potsdam. She has a teaching degree.
She does.
Yeah! She does!
Wow.
She also made fucking $90,000 a year.
So is your answer you were born in the right time or no?
That's the thing, is I definitely couldn't have been born any earlier, even though there are pros to that. So it would have to be like
I'm a white
rolling the
man. The
dice on the
earlier I
future.
get born, the better.
Yeah, but you're also
True. Choose
queer,
like
We
so
listen. If I was
be
born in
careful.
1940, I'm just gonna do what every man did back then. I'm gonna stuff that shit down, and then when I'm rich and
no, you're going to join
successful,
the Navy and fuck crazy.
Yeah, but then you have to be in the Navy during the 1940s. That is peak World War II
hell
time,
yeah,
my
dude.
friend.
It's yeah, but it's also peak getting your dick wet in some man's ass time, all right? You understand.
Okay.
And
So
then you
anyways, let's
come
keep it.
back to your wife with
Yeah, and then once I get out of the war and I've
yeah,
been ran through, I'll be like, all right, time to settle down and start a little family,
exactly.
Been ran through.
as
Exactly, because
God as God
she's
intended.
not gonna look or touch your
No,
asshole
not
in
back
that time
then.
period. Hell
Absolutely not.
no.
Back then,
So
she's
yeah,
gonna
you're
make
fine.
direct eye contact with me while we start our family as God intended.
Missionary only.
Anyways, what are we keeping it?
What are we keeping it? Fucking this episode was all over the place. Keep it crazy.
Yeah, fucking don't ever let anybody contain your dreams. If you have something you're thinking, as long as it's not illegal, say it. Fuck it. Let the
Keep it
thoughts out.
uncontained. Keep it
Uncontained.
uncontained.
That's a good one.
Don't
Keep
let
it
anybody censor
uncontained.
yourself. Don't let anybody
Don't let your
censor
dreams be
you.
dreams.
Unless your dreams are terrible, then you should definitely censor yourself. Keep that shit on the inside.